The B-2 bomber. With a construction cost of only $2.4 billion, how has it remained the world's leader for 35 years? The answer lies in its excellent stealth capability. As the only stealth strategic bomber in history to date, the B-2 Spirit made its maiden flight as early as 1989. Although its size is larger than a semi-trailer, its radar cross-section is less than 0.1 square meters. The B-2 has even completed a continuous flight of 55,000 kilometers without shutting down for 70 hours. And accomplished the feat of making a long-range strike into the hinterland of Afghanistan, realizing the principle of vengeance will be taken no matter how far away the target is. And the United States currently has 20 B-2 bombers in active service if they all set out at the same time. What kind of scene would that be? Here is Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. The United States, with the shrill sound of alarms ringing one after another. Dozens of crew members rushed out of the duty room in a hurry, jumped directly into the shuttle bus, parked at the door, then stepped hard on the accelerator and drove towards the hangar. This is an unprecedented live combat exercise conducted by the U.S. Air Force. Excluding those under maintenance and repair, the U.S. Air Force dispatched a total of 12 B-2 stealth bombers, setting a new record for the deployment of B-2 bombers. Upon arriving at the hangar entrance, the ground crew quickly opened the hangar door, and the full view of the B-2 stealth bomber was revealed. The Americans really spared no expense for the B-2. Even the hangar was custom built at a huge cost. For such an exciting video, you must prepare some snacks and beverages. Now I'll recommend something good to you when it comes to saving money. Do you know you can also save money in this way? Quickly click the link below, search for the Money Saving Guidebook. Learn money-saving methods with 500 million people in all aspects of food, drink, online shopping and consumption. You can also save money in this way. Quickly click the link below. Search for the Money Saving Guidebook. Learn money-saving methods with 500 million people in all aspects of food, drink, online shopping and consumption. You can help users save money, and you can also share 5 million at the same time before placing an order. Go to Shinyu first inside the hangar. After listening to a brief mission briefing, the crew members began to enter the cockpit from the boarding ladder that popped out from under the fuselage. It can be seen that the two female pilots seem a bit fierce. It seems that they haven't entered the state yet after boarding was completed. Black smoke billowed from both sides of the bomber's fuselage. The B-2's APU auxiliary power system was successfully started. To maintain the high stealth performance of the B-2, each B-2 bomber has a separate air-conditioned room. The interior of the air-conditioned room is kept at a constant temperature and humidity, which can maximize the lifespan of the B-2's stealth coating. This treatment can be said to be top-notch worldwide. This emergency dispatch is also a simulation of actual combat. The 12 B-2 bombers will complete the arduous task of emergency takeoff within 15 minutes. After a simple check, the B-2 is ready to roll out of the hangar. A young man wearing a pink-purple frost pattern noise-canceling headset looked back and forth. The sniper signaled that the B-2 bomber could taxi. As the pilot gently pushed the throttle lever, the B-2 made a buzzing sound as it broke through the air and began to drive out of the hangar. The B-2 stealth strategic bomber was born in 1989, developed by Northrop Grumman Corporation. Its fuselage length is 21 meters. The wingspan is 52 meters. The maximum takeoff weight exceeds 170 tons. The overall size is much larger than a semi-trailer, but the radar cross-section is less than 0.1 square meters, equivalent to only the size of a bird. A few minutes later, all the B-2s arrived on the taxiway and waited. By the way, it can be seen that the shape of the B-2 is quite distinctive overall. It is a flying wing design. There are no vertical tails or rudders of traditional aircraft. If it needs to turn or maneuver in the air, it can only rely on the two crack-able spoilers on the wings and the rudder to operate. The highly raised part in the middle of the aircraft is the cockpit. The B-2 only requires 2 people to complete all operations, including navigation, flight, And bombing, the degree of intelligence far surpasses that of the B-50 Stratofortress and the B-1 Lancer on both sides of the cockpit. There are 4 F-118-110 non-afterburning turbofan engines developed by General Electric. They can output a total thrust of 34 tons. The B-2 bombers taxiing on the runway seem endless at a glance. This represents the highest combat power of the U.S. Air Force. The simultaneous deployment of 12 bombers obviously shows off their muscle. You should know that each B-2 can carry 75 tons of fuel. It can fly 12,000 kilometers in one go, and with in-flight refueling, the B-2 can fly continuously for several days and nights without landing. And each B-2 can carry up to 23 tons of ammunition. The simultaneous deployment of 12 bombers can drop to 176 tons of ammunition, enough to paralyze a small or medium-sized country. If all carry bunker-busting bombs, they can drop 24 at one time, enough to turn the enemy's underground command center upside down several times after arriving at the takeoff point. The first B-2 bomber did not hesitate at all and began to accelerate and taxi on the runway. The 4 engines continuously output power, I have to say. The shape of the B-2 is truly sci-fi. It's hard to imagine this is an aircraft born 35 years ago after taxiing for 1,800 meters. The first B-2 bomber successfully took off. Viewed from an aerial perspective, it is like a flying saucer. No wonder it is also called an alien product. Immediately after, the second B-2 bomber began to accelerate and taxi on the runway. The 4 engines continuously output power, I have to say. The shape of the B-2 is truly sci-fi. It's hard to imagine this is an aircraft born 35 years ago after taxiing for 1,800 meters. The first B-2 bomber successfully took off. Viewed from an aerial perspective, it is like a flying saucer. No wonder it is also called an alien product. Immediately after, the second B-2 bomber began to accelerate and taxi on the runway because this is an emergency takeoff drill. The 12 B-2 bombers will take off in the manner of minimum intervals, that is to say, after the first bomber takes off, the second one begins to taxi. The interval is about 20 seconds, compressing the entire takeoff time to the greatest extent. From the perspective at the end of the runway, it can be seen that the B-2 taxied for 1,800 meters and then left the ground and began to climb. Immediately after, the next B-2 began taxiing. Let's not talk about anything else. First, the takeoff of the B-2 is really stable. The stealth performance is also really strong. No wonder it has remained unrivaled for 35 years and has not been replicated.